My name is Kainton, and in this step-by-step tutorial, I will take you through how to enable email verification in your Spring Boot application. Now, I've started this application on port 8080, and this is a Fleet MS which we worked on before now. Now, I'm going to start creating a new user by using the registration page. And I want you to see what happens when I create a registration, that an email notification is going to be sent to my email address, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So let's say we've entered the user details and I enter the password. I also want you to see that it will give me a notification on my phone as well. Okay, so I'm going to click on the register. So take note that it's going to give me a registration, as you can see right there on my phone. And if you also look at my email, you see that also, I think, gives also an email has been sent as well to my mailbox. You can see it right here that says finish creating your account. But what I want to show you before I complete the account creation is that here in the users, in the database, because I'm using my SQL database, you can see that we have the user created right here. So you have the user created, the user actually was added to the database, but you could see that we have account verified to be 0. So when a new user is created and the account is not verified, then you have the account verified to be 0, and that means that the user account is not enabled. The verification process updates the user details to set the account verified to 1. So if you go back at the login page, if we go back to try to log in, so let's go back to login, and I use the same user details, you see that I'm not able to log in, access denied. Okay, I didn't configure this page yet. So what I'm going to do now, let's click on verify user, and then we can verify this user account, and then we can log in. So let's see. So I'm going to the email I received, and I'm going to click on the verify account. It takes me to this page. Thanks for the account verification. You can now log into your account. At this point, if you look at the database, you will see that the account verified, if I refresh it, it becomes 1, right? And at the same time, if I try to log in at this point, I should be able to log in. So login, successfully logged in, click on continue, and it goes right to the home page. So let me now take you step by step how to do this. As usual, I already created the step-by-step in my website, kaintonthegenius.com, kaintonthegenius.com/springboot. And in the Spring Boot, you can scroll down the table of contents and you will see Spring Boot email verification. If you are watching this video when I already made additional articles or additional posts, it means that you have to search for email verification in the list of items displayed here. Okay, so I have the step-by-step, so I'm going to open it. So this is the step-by-step. Now, before we start, I want you to understand the workflow, what actually happens from the registration form to the email verification to the login page. Now I have the registration form, that is the place we went, and we launched the registration form, created the user by entering the first name, last name, email, password, we submit. Once you submit, it goes to the controller endpoint, users add new, and at that point, a user is created with account verified false. Now, we have something called token. Once a user is created, a token is also generated for that user. This is the token you are going to be sending to the user via a link to an email. And this token will have an expiry date. And another person cannot have access to this token because it is made specifically for a particular user. So if somebody somehow gets access to this link and tries to this token and tries to verify, it will not work because this token is linked to that particular user. And that is why we have, when the token is generated, add the secure tokens to the set of user tokens, right? And then you want to save the token, build the verification URL. The verification URL is actually a link that contains the token as a parameter. So if you look at the email, let's just take a look, you can see, I don't know if I can expand this, no? Okay, you can see the token here right at the end of the link, right here. And you can see the address all the way to verify. Let me just copy it so that you can take a closer look. So if I copy it and let's paste it somewhere we can take a look. So let me paste it here. You can see that we have the URL and then the token is added there as a URL parameter. And this is a link you send out to your user via email. So let's look at the next part of the workflow. Then the next thing is we send the email with the URL link. The user receives the email. When he clicks on this link, it takes him to the verified URL where the check is made whether the user sending this link is the actual user that owns the token. We also have to check if this token is still valid, because every token that is generated has an expiry date or a period, expiration period of time. So if you click on this link after 8 hours, it will not work. So that check has to be done at the verified URL. At that point, we also set the user account verified field to true because it was 0. As we set it to true, the user principal will now read this field to enable this user account. We are going to do it step by step. I'm going to take you through step by step how actually to do it. And then once we have the user clicking on the correct link, the verification is correct, then it goes to the successful registration link, and then it goes to the login page, then the user is able to log in. Okay, so let's now take the step-by-step approach. So this is step 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, all the way to the last one. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up an application that doesn't have any of this, the Fleet MS V2 that doesn't have the email verification setup. So for this tutorial, we are going to be using this application, Fleet MS V2, which does not have the email verification currently. So I'm going to run it. Let's just see that it doesn't have email verification. You can actually just register a new user and then log into the application. So if you are at the point where you have an application that you can log in, register a new user and log in, then you can start from there to follow this tutorial. So it starts on port 8080, so let's see. Port 8080, right? Yes. So go to port 8080, log in, register a new user. So if I can see, 3024 and register. So you can see you successfully registered and you can easily log into the application. No email verification. Now let's proceed to add email verification to this application. I'd like to recommend that if you are joining for the first time to my channel, if you are visiting my channel for the first time, please subscribe so that you don't miss any updates. And also, if you want to build this application, this fleet management system, there's also the playlist in the description of this video. You can follow this tutorial to build up this application. The complete code base is available for everyone on GitHub. So you can find link to my GitHub repository for this project. Okay, so let's keep the step-by-step open. So this is step-by-step, and also I'm going to keep IntelliJ window open as well. So I'm going to go through everything you need to do, all the steps you need to take to enable email verification. We are going to go through all the steps. The only warning I'm going to be giving you is that it's not trivial, right? So there are several steps you need to take. And these steps, you have to take them exactly the way it's right here in my website. The good news is that they are quite clear. And some of the codes you are going to be using, you are going to be simply copying and pasting, because something like the email template, which is a MIME message type, like the HTML formatted email, you don't have to create that from the scratch. You can only customize it. I already have the template, so you have to simply copy and use it. So a lot of other code snippets you can easily copy from my code base on GitHub and use. Okay, so you have the flow here. I try to create the flow, but let's take the steps one after the other. So the first one you want to do is you want to add the Spring Boot starter mail dependency. So you need the Spring Boot starter mail dependency, and you can get it from MVN repository, MVN repository, and add it to your pom.xml. So let me go to my pom.xml, and I'm going to add that dependency. So let's see. Let me just put it right here. So you can see Spring Boot starter mail, right? We are using MySQL, so if you are using MySQL, that is fine. Now the next thing is you want to add the common lang tree dependency as well. We are going to be using it for a bit of formatting we are going to be doing later. It doesn't have anything much to do with emails, but actually for formatting, a bit of formatting we are going to be doing. And we also need the MySQL dependency. I already have it here. So step one, all complete. I'm going to simply save everything. Let's move on to step two. We are going to create the secure token model. So there is a new model we are going to be creating, and the name will be secure token. It represents the access token that we want users to receive when you send them a verification email. So I'm going to go to the models package, and it says create it in the models package, and I'm going to create the Java class secure token. And this class will have a number of fields, so I'm going to copy the contents and paste it. Okay, so this is basically the contents. The field is the token, timestamp, expired, and user. Every other thing is simply getters and the setters as well. You can actually use Lombok to do this. Then we also need to add an entity annotation. And we also need to add the table. We want to give the table name to be, let's call it secure tokens. So at this point, we just completed step 2. Let's move on to step 3. In case of step 3, we are going to be modifying the existing user model to add an email field, private string email, and we also need account verified, private boolean account verified, private boolean login disabled. Actually, we may not need the two of them. Maybe one of them is okay, but let's leave the two for now. Then we need a setup. We need to have a set of secure tokens. So I'm going to add a set of secure tokens, sets of secure token. And we also need the setup for login disabled. Now, the set of secure token will be at one-to-many. One user can actually have several tokens because some might expire. He may also create another, try to log it at a different times, and can have several tokens. So we have at one-to-many, and it's going to be mapped by user. So there's a user field in the secure token model. So this is a mapping field. So if you want to understand relationships, there is also a video for that. You can also check my playlist. And then we need the function that says is login disabled to return whether login is disabled. And this is basically what we need. Yeah, we need to make this user extend or detable. This is not part of email verification. So this is simply a JPA auditing. So to be able to have created by, updated by, created on, updated on. So these fields can be added automatically when you update or create a new object in your database. Auditable, and it's going to be string because we are storing the username for each of the to record the person or the user that actually performed the operation. Okay, so the next thing is step 4. We need to set up the mailing package, and we are going to create the abstract email context. This is an abstract class that contains email properties. Like it's just like a class that defines the properties of an email, like send to, from, email body, subject, and all that. Then we have to have another class that implements this abstract class. Then we need an email service to expose the methods we want to use, and then we have default email to actually implement this interface. So 4 things. So I'm going to create a package. I'm going to call not class, but a package. I'm going to call this package mailing. It's going to contain everything we need related to mailing. All right. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, we want to create the abstract email contexts. New Java class abstract. So this is going to be an abstract class. Now, I already have this typed out, so I'm just going to be writing in bits of the code so that I can explain it. Otherwise, I'll be copying most part of it. So in this case, I'm going to simply copy the content of this abstract class. So it's basically email properties that is defined in this class. So you can see that we have all of this from to subject email attachment. So this is basically email properties, but we also need the constructor to be a hash map that holds name value. So each of the name and value. So each time you want to send an email, you want to create this context and populate it with actual email properties you want to use. We want to now create a class that will extend this abstract class. So let's call it default email context. So this is the class that extends this abstract class, and each time we want to send an email, we are going to use this default context to instantiate the abstract class. So it's going to be a service. There are different emails you might want to send for account verification, for forgot password, for password reset, for successful registration. So this email is the account verification email context. So this class will extend the abstract one. So it will extend abstract email context, and of course it's going to, oh yeah, we will have to change the name of the file. So just say rename file. Let's go back. So this is our abstract class, and this is default. Okay. So in the default, in the account verification context, we need a number of things. We need to initialize, and we need to set the token, and we need to build the verification URL. All of this happens in this class. So I'm going to copy and paste, so I don't type I'll paste and then I'm going to explain to you. So here we have the token. So for each email you are creating, you always also want to include the token when you want to send out the email URL. It has to include the token. The account verification email context contains the build verification URL that is going to build using the token, and this is just the initialization of the account verification email context. You can see it uses a template called email verification. The template is simply the HTML format of this email. We are going to be doing it. I'm going to provide it a little later. And then we have the subject, we have the set from, we have the set to, right? Okay. So the next thing we want to do is the email service, because we have the need for a function to send mail. So we have to create the email service interface that will contain the send mail method. So I'm going to create here new interface. New interface is going to be email service, and it's going to expose send mail method. Yeah, so it exposes the send mail method. So we are now going to have to write the class, create the class that implements this email service interface. Why do we have this? So we are going to reload Maven so that it can give us the dependency. All right. Next, we want to create the email, the default email context that implements this email service. Email context, and this is going to be a service. It implements the service, and of course, it implements the email service. And we are going to implement the send mail method, right? So this implements the send mail method. So this is actually where we are going to send the email. So the Java.mail contains a number of things like the Spring template engine that formats the email body, the mail sender that actually does the sending of the email. I'm going to copy the methods and paste it, and then we can look at it, and I can explain a few parts of it, but it will be quite intuitive. Okay, so the main thing you want to see here is that we have the send mail. It takes the email, which is an abstract, using a type of abstract email context. The Java mail sender is provided by the java.mail package, which we added as a dependency. We have the template engine that handles the formatting of the email. We have this the email sender creates message. Template engine.process provides the location of the context and the content of this email. So the context we have here provides the actual data for the email, while the template provides the formatting of this email. And the template engine process methods puts the two of them together and then sends the mail. So let's go to step 5. We want to create secure token repository. We also will have to be able to create new tokens, add token, delete a token, because once a user is verified, we also want to delete that token. So we want to create a secure token repository which will contain the find by token and remove token methods. So we are creating this in the securities package, and I'm going to just come here, new secure token repository. It's going to be an interface, and it extends JPA repository, and it's going to be secure token, and the primary key is a long, I think. So let's just check. Let's check. The primary key is a long. Okay, so I'm going to annotate this class with repository. Do we have a JPA repository? Okay, no, at repository. Okay, so it's going to contain find by token. So I'm going to say find by secure token, find by token, and string token. So this is going to find a token and return it. Just verify. And then we also need remove token. So we need to remove a token. Remove. And it's going to be string token. We can make this final. Okay, that is what I have in my code. Okay, so we have find by token. We also have remove token. We also need to create the secure token service, which will now contain the CRUD operations like add, delete, and all those other ones. So I'm going to go to service and I'm going to create secure token service, and this is going to actually it's going to be an interface. It's going to be an interface that defines the methods that we need to expose. Expose the CRUD service and the CRUD methods. So I'm going to also paste the content right here. So we basically need to create, we need to save, we need to find by token, and we need to remove token. And next we will have a class that implements the secure tokens service. So we are going to create default secure token service. So this class will implement the secure token service, and of course we are going to implement the methods. Okay, so to create a secure token, how do we create a new token? There are many ways to do it, but it depends on the security requirements. We have a class that actually could help us build an encrypted set of characters, a string of characters that is secure. I'm going to copy from here, so let's take from here. So in case of create secure token, first we need the secure token repository wired in here. So we need to wire in the secure token repository. This is token validity in seconds, right? So we need to specify the token validity, how long this token takes to validate, how long it will remain valid. I'm going to put a value of 2,800. So what do we need to do? We need to create the secure token here. So I'm going to copy the code and paste it here. So this is how we create a secure token. So this is a byte key generator, generates random keys when you provide the key length for it. So we have basically for that encode, we encode that key that is generated and then create a new secure token and then set the value of the token, set the expiry date from current dates plus the number of seconds or hours you specify, and then you want to save the secure token and then we return it. And the next thing we want to do is we want to save the secure token. So I'm going to say secure token repository, repository.save secure token. So we have find my token. I'm going to return secure token repository dot find by token. Then we also have remove secure token repository dot delete and delete token. Alright, so this is about how to manage all the tokens. The next thing we want to do now is to update the add new user methods, so that the add new user methods should actually be the register methods, right? When you create a new user is when you do a registration. We are going to work on that next. So let's take a few seconds break and then we work on that when we come back. Okay, so we continue from where we stopped. Today we are going to now modify the user repository, the user service, and the user controller. So let's go to the user repository. Let's start from there. That's step 1 on part 1 on step 6. So we are going to include two methods. We are going to include find by username, find by email. Later on, we might need find by first name and last name, because this we are going to need for password reset. That will be after now we are going to be doing password reset. Okay, so we now want to update the user controller to modify it to be, let's call it register. So if I go to user controller, actually we need to update the service first, right? So let's go to the user service, because the controller will be calling methods from the service. So instead of save, let's call it register. Instead of save, we call it register. We are going to write a method that checks if user exists. A method that checks if user exists. So this is a method that checks if the user exists. It returns user repository dot find by email. If his find by email is null. If it's not null, then user exists. If it's null, then user doesn't exist. Let's simplify it. So this is simplified. And the next one, we need to rename the same method to register. I already did. Update the user service, write the check if user exists, write the send registration confirmation email. So send registration confirmation email. We are going to write this function that sends the email once a new user is registered. So I'm going to also paste this function and then you can take a look. Oh, okay, so we need to wire in secure token service. So let's auto wire private. And also we need to wire in the secure token repository. Okay, so the base URL email service, we also need to wire the email service in. Secure token service, no beans, let's check. Okay, so the register method should first check if the user exists. Base URL, we'll be getting base URL from, so the base URL is going to be the base URL. So it's going to be base URL, and the value will be coming from actually the properties file. So, but I can also have code it here. HTTP localhost port 8080 site.baseURL.http. So we are going to, okay, let's leave it here, but generally we can also do something like this. Site.baseURL. So is equal to http localhost, and in the user service we have it there, right? So it's going to be site.base.url.http. Okay, so that's the base URL. So what happens here is you are creating a secure token, set the user field of the token to the user, save the token. Then we are going to create an account verification email context and initialize it to the user. We set the token for that context. We build the verification URL using the base URL, giving it the token, and then we are going to send that email. So we are sending this email after we register the user, but we need a step that says verify user. In the step to verify user, we are going to check if the token is valid. We are going to check if the token have not expired, and also if that token belongs to the user. So this is actually the verify user. So we are going to check if the token is there, is one of the user's token, and is not expired. If any of this happens, then it's going to be invalid token exception. So once we verify the user, we set the account verified to true. We set the user, and then we have to remove the token as well. All these exceptions is fine. We are going to create the custom exceptions later on. We now want to create exceptions package and put in a few exceptions. So let me just create a new package here. And this exception, there will be 3 of them: invalid token, user does not exist, and user already exists. Actually, invalid token, unknown identifier, and user already exists. So I created the 3 of them. So they are just custom exceptions that extend the superclasses exception. So we are going to import the exception here. There is a red line here. Why do we have? We need to annotate this with @service annotation, and that error will go away. Okay, let's now go to the next steps, or the last steps here, and that will be adding the mailing properties. So we are going to create an app using Google accounts. We are going to add mailing value to the properties file, and then we are going to add the site.base.url.https property with the correct port. I think we already did number 3. Let's see. So you can see right here. Now, if you look at the properties, we need mailing properties: the username, the email address for sending out mail, the port number, the host. So I'm going to copy those properties and I'm going to paste it as well. Okay, so you can see the email. This password is not your password for your email address, because if you do this, then you expose everything when you put your email and password here. So this password, I'm going to show you how to actually get this password. So to get this password, you need to go to create an app in Gmail. So let's go to Gmail, go to your profile and go to manage Google accounts, go to security, go to two-step verification. If you go to two-step verification, you should be able to see apps. You should see apps, but now apps is not showing up. And the reason is because advanced features is enabled in the Gmail account. So if you don't see apps here, don't worry, just create another Gmail account and use it. So I'm going to be using another Gmail account and go to manage Google account, security, and I'm choosing two-step verification. And once you go to two-step verification, of course we will scroll down to the end and you can see app passwords. Click, you can actually create a new app. Give it a name, create. Once you create, it gives you the password. So let's call this app tutorial. If I create, it gives me the password, right? That's the password this is the password you are going to use in your properties file. So this is the much we did right here. We've covered step 8. We now want to create the mailing directory, and we want to create the email templates. Email templates are HTML message that the user is going to receive. So I'm going to templates now. On the templates, I'm going to create mailing directory because I want to place all my templates inside a mailing directory. And inside the mailing directory, I want to create the email verification template. So this is the actual what will be in the body of the email. It contains HTML styling, so I'm going to I will not have to write it from the scratch. I will simply copy and paste. So these templates, there's nothing much there. When we send the email, then you will see actually what is here. One thing you can see here is the verification URL has to be signed along. The first name of the user, that is not mandatory, but the verification URL is mandatory because this is what the user will have to click. Create the registration successful templates inside the securities folder. We have a securities folder. So when a user successfully registers, we also have another template for that. So I'm going to copy and paste it as well. So that is called registration successful.html. It's just another template that says, okay, your registration was successful. Please go back to login, and displays a message. Now we want to modify the registration form to include the email field, because for now the registration form doesn't include email field. It only includes the username. So I'm going to open the register.html. So this is registration form, close others. If you scroll down, you can see the fields. We are going to create one new field. I think it's better I just copy and paste and rename. This is going to be email. So one thing I did before now, I modified the password and confirm password fields so that I included a script to check whether the passwords match. So I'm going to remove this password and verify password. Now I'm going to paste the two modified, although this is not necessary for this for email verification. This is just something additional I wanted to add. So this is the password and this is confirmed password. Now I'm making sure the email is valid. It's in the valid format, and also the two fields, the values, they match. So right now I'm going to paste the script that runs this validation. So again, this you can copy from my repository and paste. So this is what I did. Update the form actions to point to users add new. Users add new. So it's going to be users. Let me just verify from the user controller that we have the user add new endpoint or route in the user controller. See, have users add new, actually users add new. I think it's going to be here, it's going to be register. Now we need to update the add new controller method to redirect to registration success page after registration. Now we will not do a redirect view because in this case when a user is registered it redirects to the login page, but in this case we want to redirect to a successful registration but not an email confirmation or a successful confirmation. So I'm going to make that change as well. Now first we are going to return a string, and we are going to also we need to put some context in the model. When a user wants to send a successful message to the UI if there's a successful registration. Now we are not redirecting anything. We are doing add attribute registration success, and we are going to add a message that tells the user please verify your registration, and then we are going to redirect to this successful registration. So message source is a feature that helps send messages to the template. So I'm going to wire in a message source. I'm going to say private message source, and it's coming from Spring framework.context. While the message source and new update update the security config to allow access to users add new and add the register verify URL to the. So these two we need to allow them without authentication. So before even someone who is not logged into the application should be able to access these URLs. So I'm going to application security config, and we also will need to add the verify URL as well. So this is the tool here. So this is the add new. So you allow all the resources, the styling and the scripts. The verify URL does not display anything. It simply goes to the verify URL. So we allow them. Create the registration controller in the controllers package because we've not actually created the verify endpoint. So, okay. So there is a registration controller. So the verify is going to simply send some successful verification message to the UI and redirect to the login page. So I think I'll just copy the content because I already have it. So what's happening here is we have a method verify. It takes the token and then if there's no token, of course, it fails. We verify the user. If it fails, we catch the error because the verification actually happens here. Okay, so the next step is to create the message properties. So the message properties means we are taking messages like this, user.registration.verification email message, and a few other messages that we need to send the user. So we need to create the message properties resource bundle and call it messages. New resource bundle and I call it messages. And we need a registration success message and a few other ones. So I already have them, so I'm going to just copy them and paste. So these are all the messages related to registration, user registration. So thank you for your registration. We have sent a verification email. Please verify your account. So these are just messages. You can customize these messages to suit your needs. And finally, we need to update the user principal to use account verified field of the user object. If I go to, we need the user principal and it's going to use, we update it's enabled to use user.isAccountVerified because this is where we store whether the account is verified. If it is verified, the user account is enabled. That is basically it. We are done. So let's go ahead to test what we have. If it works, that is fine. If not, we do some debugging. So I'm going to start this application. Okay, so our application starts running on port 8080. Interesting. So let's go to try. HTTP localhost port 8080, and we have. Let's go to try to register. Let's just say me, and let's just make sure we don't use something we already have in the database. Okay, so I start creating a new user and register. Thank you for your registration. We have sent a verification email. Please verify. So let me check my email and see if an email came. Taking time. Oh wait, let's check here. No mail here. Okay, so I started troubleshooting the problem to figure out where it is coming from, and I see that the problem is coming from the register method right here in the user service. So I forgot, or we forgot to update the user method to actually send an email. So we have the user repository.save, but we did not actually update. So if I go back, so I think this is where the problem is coming from. If you look at this place, it says register method. First check if user exists, save the user, and then call the send registration confirmation email. I think this is where I got it wrong. So let's fix this and then we test. So the first thing we are going to do here, we will see. So we are going to check if the user exists. So I'm going to say if, check if user exists and provide user.get email, because this point we have the email. We are checking with the if there's an email for that user existing. We can also use the username, but since we are using the email for confirmation, it's better we use the email as also the unique identifier to check if the user exists. So we are going to throw new user already existed section, user already exists for this email. Okay, so I think the alter method will also have an exception signature, and otherwise we are then going to continue. After saving the user, we are going to then send registration email and provide the user. So this is basically what we were missing, and I think at this point everything should work perfectly well. Let's go ahead to test and let's see. So I'm going to fire up this application once again at port 8080. I cleared up the database, so for now there is nothing in the database. So okay, so we need exception signature to this as well. Then I'm going to run. So the application starts on port 8080, and let's go try it out. And let's do a registration. Now I'm going to just keep the email open. Let's use the same gmail.com. So let's register and let's see. We are having an error here. Let's see. Site.base. Not a valid HTTP URL. Let's see. So this should be coming from the properties file. Oh, I think this is my fault. So it should be. Yeah, so I need to mark it up using curly braces. Okay, I think this should be fine. So let's go ahead to try again. Let me see if it inserted anything, and I'm going to actually delete. I think, okay, it started on port 8080. So let's go back. So let's do a registration again. I'm going to use Cynthia. SMA. And this time it registration was successful. The thing now is we are going to check if we received an email. So let's go to email, and you can see right here, finish creating your account. Now, if you go to the back to login, and I try to log in, it doesn't let me in. And if I also look at the data, you see the data is available in the database, but the account verified field column is 0, as you can see here. So let's go ahead to click on the link on the registration email, and then we can get verified. So I'm going to click on the link, and it says error. Okay, so the registration controller has verified route, but it also needs a parent route, which is the register route. So I think I should. So we need in the registration controller, we need it to be a controller, and we need it to be a request mapping to/register. Okay, so I'm going to save everything and I'm going to restart this application. So stop, and I'm going to restart this application. So restart. So we are going to click on the link in the registration email. While it is restarting, take a look at the database table. We have one user was created here, and if you look at the secure token, you also likely will see one token was created for user ID 53. And if you go to the user ID 53, so it actually created the token and inserted the token inside the tokens table. So let's go ahead to click on the link on the email. Let's go back to the email. Hopefully the token is not expired, so I'm clicking on validate. And it says, thanks for the account verification. You can now log into your account, log in, and it should be able to log in at this time. So this is basically how it works. I know it's been a lot, but try to do this maybe repeatedly and you see that you get used to it at some point. Feel free to copy and paste my code. And I think there's no other easier way to do it. I'm not sure you can memorize all the steps and all these bits of code we use. So feel free to just copy and paste the code right there. If you have any challenge, please leave me a comment. I'm currently coming back to making tutorials again. I took kind of a break because I needed to work on my research and other things I do. So for now, please keep in touch with me, follow my tutorials, reach out to me on GitHub, on LinkedIn, on any other social network. I'm always there. And I'd like to stop here and also remember to subscribe to my channel. I remain Kindson and I'm always there for you.